And it's a warm welcome to you on this hour. This is Gttv News Bulletin. With me, Aisha Tukoli. We begin with our top stories. Gambian President Adama Barrow has returned to Banjul after attending the UN General Assembly in New York. The editors of Voice newspaper have been charged with false publication and broadcasting over a report suggesting that President Barrow has chosen a successor. Their charges have been, however, condemned by Gambian journalists and activists. In internationals, Iran on Tuesday launched a barrage of missiles into Israel amid fear of regional war in the Middle East. Those are the headlines. Stay tuned after this short commercial break for more news. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is Gttv News Bulletin and I'm your presenter, Aisha Tukuli. During the weekend, the Gambian leader, President Adama Barrow, and his delegation returned to Banjul after attending the 79th UN General Assembly held in New York. In America, in his speech, he called on world leaders to broker diplomatic solutions and end the raging wars and irregular migration, as well as climate change. More on this report. After returning from the 79th UN General Assembly, President Adama Barrow, who doubles as the chairman of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, emphasized on the need for world peace and stability. In his UN speech, he had urged for diplomatic solutions to addressing issues like raging wars and rising cost of living, as well as irregular migration, among others. He also strongly harped on united action against climate change and inequality that continues to trouble the world, especially the underdeveloped countries. Speaking to reporters at the Banjul International Airport, President Barrow emphasized the need for urgent action among world nations in addressing these issues, and as chair of the OIC, he will work with partners as peace is the fundamental pillar for a meaningful development.
We have to dialogue, we have to engage to make sure that we maintain peace and stability. Our development is linked to peace and stability. And also we seize the opportunity to engage the Secretary General of the OIC on a bilateral meeting, that we have to form a team, a troika, that is Gambia, Azerbaijan and Saudi Arabia, to see how best we can engage our member countries so that we can also dialogue between them so that they'll maintain peace and stability. I think that is important going forward.
President Barrow also called on the international community to tackle irregular migration that came after dozens of young Gambians lost their lives through the back way in search of greener pastures.
We need to look at migration in a very wider context. But people are looking at a narrow angle. That's why we said we have to widen it, we have to regulate it, we have to organize it. I think that is the best way forward, so that's why we mentioned that. And I think Gambia is also a victim of migration. So if it is organized and regulated, I think that will help all of us.
Reporting for Gttv News, Aisha Tukoli. In 25 months' time, Gambians will head back to the polls to elect their next president. As a result, political parties are busy with preparations in trying to mobilize funds. And the United Democratic Party during the weekend raised more than $6 million in their fundraising event held in the U.S. state of Seattle. Modula Minjob reports.
Known for its staunch stand against injustice and bad governance, UDP's leadership led a successful fundraising event in Seattle, where the party was able to put together a whopping sum of over $6 million in preparation for the 2026 presidential election. This mobilization of funds followed a similar event held by the party's Spain chapter, which was also graced by their leader Ousainou Darboe. Despite hitches surrounding who should lead the party in the upcoming presidential election, UDP leader Ousainou Darboe showed that The party should not be flattered by anything now other than their uniform focus to unseating President Adama Barrow in the helm of power in the 2026 presidential election. Addressing the fundraising event in US, lawyer Ushem Dabo paid tribute to fallen heroes of UDP members who died in the struggle to free Gambia in the hands of Jammeh regime. While paying this tribute, he also warned those members of his party who are engaged in throwing shots at each other on social media, adding that those actions are against the party's principles, describing their actions against the party's principles. Reporting for Gttv News, I am Mudlamin Job.
The Embassy of the People's Republic of China to the Gambia celebrated the 75th anniversary of China, in which the Communist Party made a significant achievement by eradicating poverty in the country, as well as supporting developing countries, many of which are in Africa. Our General tells us more.
The representative of the People's Republic of China in the Gambia celebrated the 75th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. The celebration was graced with different dignitaries, NGOs, government officials, and the Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow, who attended on behalf of the President. The event started by showing a video clip of China's transformation from being a poor and weak country to the second largest world economy. The video also highlighted some interventions of the Chinese government in Africa as one of their reliable development partners. Speaking at the gathering, Liu Jin welcomed and thanked the various guests for honoring their invitation.
Jallow, honorable ministers, honorable National Assembly members, honorable governors and mayors, honorable ambassadors and heads of missions, dear compatriots, Salam alaikum, good evening. First of all, I would like to warmly welcome all guests for gathering together with us to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China.
He highlighted the transformation of China, which he associated their persistent hard work.
Over the past 75 years, under the leadership of the Communist Party of China and with persistent hard work by the Chinese people, China has achieved a great transformation from a poor and backward country into a moderately prosperous society in all aspects, and embarked on a new journey to build a great country and achieve national rejuvenation on all fronts through Chinese path of modernization.
On his part, the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mohamed B.S. Jallow, said the occasion not only celebrates the incredible journey of a nation that has risen to remarkable heights, but also acknowledges the enduring friendship and collaboration between the China and the Gambia.
This occasion not only celebrates the incredible journey of a nation that has risen to remarkable heights, but also acknowledges the enduring friendship and collaboration between the People's Republic of China and the Republic of the Gambia. This significant milestone marks a journey of incredible transformation, not only for China, but also for the world at large. It is an occasion to reflect on the achievements of China and its invaluable contributions to the socio-economic development of many nations, including our own beloved Gambia.
The two leaders toast to a more future collaboration for the benefit of both nations. The event would not have been completed without the spectacular Kung Fu performance, which is a significant part of the Chinese culture to entertain the guests. As the event draws near completion, the guests were again entertained as buffet was opened to help themselves with food, fruits, and drinks of their choice. Reporting for Gttv News, I am Jenna Baba.
Now, two Gambian journalists are facing a lawsuit threat over a publication against the president. They are charged with false publication and broadcasting under the Criminal Code of the Gambia over a publication they made on the Voice newspaper titled President Barrow chooses Mohamed Jah as successor. Fatima Malem Mendy picks up the rest of that story.
Their arrest comes a day President Adama Barrow praised his leadership at the UN General Assembly that no journalist and politician was jailed since he took power in 2017. However, days after their publication, the president's lawyer served the local newspaper a legal threat demanding a public apology and asked the paper to put down its report. The paper, however, shunned the lawsuit threats and stood by its report, citing they had applied all ethos of journalism in the report with fair and balanced reporting. Last Thursday, the paper's managing editor, Musa Sharif, and his deputy editor, who authored the story, Mohamed Justice Dabo, was summoned for questioning at the police headquarters in Banjul, where they were detained. Mr. Dabo was charged and released on bail during the weekend. Earlier this week, Musa Sharif was also charged, detained and released on bail worth $50,000. However, their arrests and charges have been widely condemned among Gambian journalists and activists who called on the police to drop the charges. Fatima Malen Mendy reports.
Now from that story by Fatima Malen Mendy, will now take us to our first break. When we come back, we'll look at news beyond the borders of the Gambia. Stay tuned. Welcome back. In case you're just tuning in, you're still watching Gttv News Bulletin. Now to internationals, where a growing fears of regional war in the Middle East after Iran launched more than 180 missiles towards Israel. Millions of people rushed to shelters before explosions lift up the night skies above Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Raymond Isaac Juve reports.
Iranian state TV said Iran had fired 200 missiles towards Israel. These included hypersonic weapons, it said, while the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said the strikes were in retaliation for the killings of the leaders of its allies Hezbollah and Hamas. Within hours of the massive barrage on Tuesday evening local time, Israel's military resumed airstrike against what it said were Hezbollah targets in the southern suburbs of the Lebanese capital, Beirut. U.S. President Joe Biden said the Iranian missile attack appeared to have been defeated and ineffective. The U.S. Department of Defense confirmed its forces had helped shoot down missiles in support of its Middle East ally. The Israel Defense Forces IDF said the majority of missiles were intercepted by Israel and a defensive coalition led by the United States. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres condemned what he called the broadening conflict in the Middle East, adding, "This must stop. We absolutely need a ceasefire." There was support from Israel from allies including Britain, France, Japan, Australia, with UK Defense Secretary John Healey issuing a statement saying the armed forces had played their part in attempts to prevent further escalation in the Middle East. The missile attack came hours after Israeli troops began an invasion of southern Lebanon to remove what the military said were Hezbollah terror targets in border villages that posed a threat to residents of northern Israel. Israel has gone on the offensive against the Iran-backed Shia Islamist political and military organization after almost a year of cross-border hostilities sparked by the war with Hamas in Gaza, saying it wants to ensure the safe return of residents of border areas displaced by Hezbollah rocket, drone, and missile attacks. For Gttv News, I am Raymond Isaac Juve.
Tuesday night's vice presidential debate between Republican J.D. Vance and Democrat Tim Walz felt like a civil and relatively restrained conversation about the issues at the top of American voters' minds going into the 5th November election, in that it was unlike the two presidential debates earlier this year. The two men spent much more time attacking the other's running mate than each other during 90 minutes plus on the CBS News stage in New York. Amadou Laminjo reports.
But the even-tempered policy-focused debate with a few political body blows probably served Vance, a police public speaker, best in the end. If Vance was picked because he puts ideological meat on the bones of Trump's conservative populism, on Tuesday night he put a polite, humble face on them as well. There were moments when the Republican candidate bristled at what he thought was unfair fact-checking from the two CBS moderators, and at one point, microphones of both candidates were temporarily muted. The most vigorous disagreement came towards the end of the debate on the topic of Trump's repeated and false claims that the 2020 election was stolen from him. Vance, when asked if Trump lost the last presidential election, dodged the question and criticized what he said was Kamala Harris' censorship. Walz went on to say that the only reason Mike Pence, Trump's previous vice president, was not on stage was because he certified President Joe Biden's victory. Vance had no answer to that, highlighting that beyond his friendly demeanor and agreeability, he would not break from Trump's position. Vance and Walz entered this debate with different skill sets. Vance has paired with journalists on television in heated exchanges. Walz is at home on the campaign stump, using his folksy style in contrast to more polished politicians. In the early part of this debate, with both candidates standing behind podiums in a New York City television studio, Vance seemed much more comfortable. His answers were smooth and relentlessly on message, constantly reminding the audience that for all of Vice President Kamala Harris' promises, Democrats have held the White House for the past 3.5 years. Walz, for his part, seemed halting and unsure on the opening topic, dealing with Tuesday's Iranian missile attack on Israel and if the candidates would support an Israeli preemptive strikes on Iran. The Minnesota governor rarely talks about foreign policy, and his discomfort on the subject was apparent. The Democrat settled in as the debate moved along, and during his exchange with Vance on the topic of immigration, an area of strength for the Republicans, both delivered well-earned messages. Vance deflected accusations that he amplified false claims about Haitian immigrants stealing and eating pets in Ohio. Vance said undocumented migration burdens city resources, drives up prices, and pushes down wages. Walz pointed to Trump's opposition to propose bipartisan immigration legislation earlier this year. When the topic turned to abortion rights, an area of strength for Democrats, according to polls, it was Vance who played defense, acknowledging that Republicans had to do more to earn the trust of American voters. As a congressman, Walz regularly voted in favor of gun rights and against many gun control measures, winning the praise of the pro-gun National Rifle Association. During the debate, he said his views on gun control changed after the 2012 Sandy Hook school shooting, but some Democrats may be disappointed he did not press Vance for more Tuesday night. Reporting for Gttv News, I am Odlamin Job.
That news ends this program, but before we take a leave of you, here are our main stories once again. Gambian President Adama Barrow has returned to Banjul after attending the UN General Assembly in New York. The editors of Voice newspaper have been charged with false publication and broadcasting over a report suggesting that President Barrow has chosen a successor. Their charges have been, however, condemned by Gambian journalists and activists. In internationals, Iran on Tuesday launched a barrage of missiles into Israel amid fear of regional war in the Middle East. Well, that's all we have for you in tonight's news bulletin. I have been your presenter, Aissatou Koli. From the entire production team, it's a bye from